Does a person have to tell his roommates that he's not Jewish? This question was asked to one of our rabbis in New York. And the case was a person found out that he probably wasn't Jewish. And he did not want to share this information with his roommates. It was very private information. Presumably he was in the process of converting. But maybe he owed it to his roommates because his actions could create halachic problems. If he poured wine, that wine would be forbidden. Maybe the wine in the bottle would be forbidden. If he cooked food, there's a problem of food cooked by non-Jews unless a Jew is involved. So is he obligated to tell his roommates? Now the irony here is he's not asking a halachic question if he's not Jewish. He is asking an ethical question. And the ethical question is dependent on the halachic one. If it's okay halachically for his friends to eat the food, then he is not hurting them religiously. So what's the answer? When it comes to wine, there's reason to be lenient. The problem of wine is only if a non-Jew owns it or touches it. Now, when you pour wine, you don't touch the wine. The issue, though, is that the moving of the wine out of the bottle through your agency is as if you touched it. So rule number one, don't pour the wine for your friends, unless it's mevushal, cooked wine, then it's not a problem. And wine you pour for yourself, don't let your friends share. Now, presumably those are not big issues. But what about the wine that remains in the bottle? So here, there's a debate. Is it considered one unit and forbidden with the wine that comes out or not? Shulchan Aruch rules in contradictory ways. The Ramah says we have to be strict unless it's a great loss. And the Shach says we can be lenient even for a minor loss. Why? Because nowadays we don't treat non-Jews as idolaters. Now the issue of wine still applies. It's also about intermarriage. But it means we can be more lenient. And that's certainly true in this case. So we can assume that the wine in the bottle is not a problem, and therefore he doesn't have to worry about it. If he owns it, though, that's a different story. So it's still a little tricky. Now, how about the cooking? Well, here, there's also reason to be lenient. Food cooked by a non-Jew is only a problem if it's fit for a king's table. In this case of sharing our apartment with roommates, unless one of them is a real gourmet cook, most likely the food is not fit for a king's table, and we can actually, because of the circumstance, define that very narrowly, what fit for a king's table means. And some of it can be eaten raw, but the key is not fit for a king's table. As far as the pots and pans, if that were the issue, let's say he only eats his own food, but how about the pots and pans? So there's reason to be lenient as well. Question if food cooked by non-Jew makes the pots and pans a problem. We scour the pots and pans with water, hot water and soap. So there's reason to be lenient there as well. In this case, there's reason to allow him to deal with this issue privately and not have to feel a need to share with his roommates.